The audience was electric as Blake Shelton took his seat on The View, flashing his signature smirk at the cheering crowd. He was there to promote his new single and a summer tour, but no one expected what would unfold in the next 30 minutes. Joy Behar leaned in early with a pointed question. "So Blake, you're no stranger to controversy. How do you justify supporting certain political views that some of your fans find offensive?" The room went still. Blake blinked, leaned back, and chuckled. "Well, Joy, I sing country songs, not policy." The tension began to rise immediately. Sunny Hostin shifted in her seat. Whoopi Goldberg raised her eyebrows slightly, but Joy didn't. Led up, pushing further, accusing Shelton of ignoring social responsibility. That's when Blake sat forward, eyes sharp, smile gone. "Asterisk, you know what, Joy," he said slowly. "I'm tired of being painted like some redneck stereotype just because I come from Oklahoma and I don't vote the way y'all do in New York." The crowd murmured, unsure whether to clap or gasp. Joy folded her arms clearly. "Unimpressed? It's not about where you're from, Blake. It's about what you stand for. You have influence. And with influence comes accountability." Blake shook his head, a bitter laugh escaping. "Funny how that only applies when someone disagrees with your narrative." The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Anna Navarro attempted to mediate, suggesting they return to music, but the conversation had veered too far. Blake wasn't smiling anymore. He glanced off stage, his jaw visibly clenched. Asterisk, what most people didn't know was that backstage producers were already scrambling. Blake's publicist had warned the segment team to avoid politics, but The View had other plans. They had done this before, luring in guests under the guise of lighthearted interviews, only to press hard when the cameras rolled. Blake had handled tough interviews before, but something about Joy's tone and the way the panel piled on made him feel blindsided. "You don't get to preach to me about morals," he said, his voice low and controlled. "Not when this show has had its own share of scandals." Joy fired back instantly. "Then maybe you shouldn't be here if you can't take a little truth." That's when everything exploded. Asterisk, Blake stood up, removed his microphone, and looked straight into the camera. "You know what? Y'all enjoy your little echo chamber. I'm out." The studio went silent, then erupted. Some audience members gasped, others applauded. Security instinctively moved toward the stage, unsure if they were needed. Joy rolled her eyes and muttered something into her mic, caught clearly by boom operators. "Go sing to your beer cans, cowboy." That comment would become a viral meme within minutes. Blake didn't turn back. He walked straight off stage, through the heavy velvet curtain, and out of the building. Footage of the moment hit Twitter and TikTok within seconds. Fans were stunned, and networks began dissecting the fallout before the hour was over. Asterisk, by the time Blake got to his SUV, his team was already in crisis mode. Calls poured in from PR reps, label executives, even fellow country artists. Supportive fans launched the hashtag #Stand with Blake, while critics accused him of being fragile and evasive. Joy Behar, unfazed, continued the show as if nothing had happened. "Well," she said dryly, "Blake Shelton has left the building. I guess some boots aren't made for walking into tough conversations." The panel laughed nervously. Whoopi looked into the camera with her classic deadpan. "We'll be right back." But during the break, she was overheard saying that might have been a mistake. ABC producers knew they had viral gold, but also a possible PR disaster on their hands. Asterisk, within hours, every major outlet was running headlines. TMZ, Entertainment Tonight, Rolling Stone, all had their spin. A leaked text from a View intern claimed Joy had planned to go extra hard on Blake because she was tired of celebs getting softballs. That only added fuel. Country radio stations across America rallied behind Blake, while late-night comedians had a field day. Guess Blake finally found something more hostile than Gwen's fashion choices, Jimmy Kimmel joked. On social media, fans dissected every facial expression, every word, comparing it to past walk-off Sharon Osbourne, Bill O'Reilly, even Whoopi herself. But this felt different. This was a clash of cultures. Nashville grit versus Manhattan smugness. Asterisk, Blake remained mostly silent, releasing only a short tweet later that night. "I came to talk music, got ambushed instead. Guess that's Hollywood." The tweet went viral, gaining millions of likes in hours. Meanwhile, Joy was invited to address the situation on other talk shows, including The Late Show and Real Time with Bill Maher. She maintained she was just asking the questions fans wanted answered. But backlash was growing. ABC insiders revealed they were fielding advertiser concerns, especially from southern markets. Some sponsors had pulled promo spots from that day's segment. The network issued a soft statement about respecting all guests and aiming for balanced, respectful dialogue, but no one was buying it. Asterisk country stars began posting in solidarity. Jason Aldean tweeted, "You don't bring a man on your show to attack him. That ain't journalism, that's a trap." Miranda Lambert chimed in, saying, "Blake's one of the kindest, most respectful people I know. That wasn't an interview, it was a hit job." Even Dolly Parton's team issued a vague but pointed message. Good manners go both ways. Suddenly, The View found itself on the defensive in a part of the country it rarely paid attention to. Ratings didn't drop, but the comment sections were filled with vitriol. Blake's tour tickets surged. His new single shot up the charts. Ironically, the confrontation gave him the biggest promo boost of his career. Asterisk ABC tried to contain the fire by offering a follow-up segment without Joy, perhaps, with Whoopi or Anna interviewing Blake again in a softer setting. But his team declined. His walk-off had already said everything. In Nashville, they called it the most badass exit since Johnny Cash flipped the bird at San Quentin. Producers at rival networks began debating whether to invite country stars at Olafraid. The genre's fans would take even minor criticism as attacks. But one exec from CMT reportedly said, "Let them alienate the South. We'll take it all." Blake had turned controversy into a career-defining moment, without playing along with anyone else's game. The days that followed felt more like a political campaign than a celebrity media storm. Conservative pundits began using Blake Shelton's walk-off as a symbol of anti-coastal elitism, arguing that Middle America had finally found its voice again in a country star who wouldn't be bullied. Liberal commentators, meanwhile, accused Blake of dodging accountability and inflating the moment into martyrdom. The truth, as always, lived somewhere in between. But the discourse didn't stop at Twitter. On a special episode of The View, Joy Behar doubled down, insisting that Blake had a meltdown because someone dared to challenge his comfort zone. Ana Navarro seemed visibly uncomfortable, and Whoopi tried to steer the conversation back to pop culture. But the audience sensed the fracture behind the scenes. Unbeknownst to viewers, ABC executives had called an emergency internal meeting. The night after Blake's exit, ratings had gone up. Yes, but affiliate stations in Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee had sent concerned messages about tone and disrespect shown to a guest. One anonymous producer confessed to a media blog that Joy's line about beer cans was never part of the planned dialogue and had caused deep embarrassment among the crew. Behind closed doors. But she refused, arguing it would look like an admission of guilt. "I'm not apologizing for holding people accountable," she allegedly told producers, especially not someone who sells beer-chugging ballads. While the TV world debated itself into a frenzy, Blake Shelton took a radically different approach. He rented out a rustic cabin in Colorado and went offline. Gwen Stefani joined him a few days later, bringing their blended family and enough groceries to avoid town altogether. Friends who called were met with voicemail. "He's fine," one longtime guitarist told people, "pissed, but fine. He'll come back stronger." And that he did, just not on TV. Instead, Blake dropped a surprise acoustic version of his newest single, filmed casually from the porch of that Colorado cabin. No commentary, no hashtags, just music. The video exploded. Millions of views in under 24 hours. One line, "You can't cage a man with a microphone," hit like thunder. The country music community embraced him harder than ever. Radio stations began spinning older Blake songs back into rotation. Fan art flooded Instagram. Merchandise companies printed shirts that read, "I stand with Blake," and beer cans and backbone. A Nashville tattoo parlor went viral after, offering free tattoos of Blake's silhouette, walking off stage, cowboy hat in hand. Back in Los Angeles, the vibe at The View shifted subtly. During a Hot Topics segment, Whoopi brought up media ambush culture, clearly alluding to recent events. Joy rolled her eyes but didn't interrupt. Sonny Hostin suggested they should be careful not to lose sight of balance when questioning guests, to which Ana Navarro nodded visibly. The audience clapped cautiously,